People spend years planting fruit trees, watering them, fighting off disease, waiting 5, sometimes 7 years before the harvest is even worth talking about. And the whole time, something far more productive is sitting right at their feet. Plants compact enough to grow in a single pot that can absolutely bury a fruit tree in yield per square foot, per dollar spent, and per hour of labor. Professional market gardeners know this. Serious homesteaders know this. But most backyard growers are still staring up at their apple trees, wondering why the math never quite works. In this video, we're counting down 10 of them. Stick around for one plant that can produce hundreds of fruits from a space smaller than a dinner table, and another that delivers such a relentless harvest. Once it starts, it's almost impossible to keep up. Let's get started. Number 10. Beets. Most people treat beets as a single crop. You grow the root, you pull the root, you're done. That's leaving half the harvest on the table. Beets are actually 2 crops in one planting. The root itself, sweet, earthy, and packed with nutrition, but also the greens. Full edible leaves that rank among the best cooking greens in the garden. You're not choosing between them. You get both from the same plant. When you thin your seedlings, eat the thinnings as microgreens. As the plant matures, harvest outer leaves regularly while the root keeps developing underground. When the root finally comes in, pull it, and you've harvested this plant twice. That's a food efficiency most crops can't match. The root stores exceptionally well. A cool cellar or refrigerator keeps beets usable well into winter, extending your homegrown food season past the last frost by months. That's not a small thing if you're serious about food security. Beets also grow fast. Many varieties hit a harvestable size in 50 to 60 days. Plant them in early spring, then again in midsummer for a fall harvest, and you get 2 full cycles out of a single season. They tolerate light frost. In fact, a frost actually improves the flavor, converting starches into natural sugars in a way that makes garden-fresh beets taste nothing like the canned version most people grew up eating. Fresh roasted beets from your own soil are a completely different food. Sweet, complex, genuinely good. Beets got overlooked as a serious producer because canned beets convinced a generation that this was an unremarkable vegetable. It isn't. It's a fast-growing, cold-tolerant, double-harvest machine that earns its space in any food garden without asking much in return. Plant them, harvest them twice, store the roots through winter. Number 9. Blackberries. The producer that takes over and doesn't apologize. If there's a cane fruit that doesn't care whether you're paying attention or not, it's blackberries. These plants produce aggressively. 2 to 3 pounds per plant in a decent season is a conservative starting point. Get them established in good conditions, and you can do significantly better than that. They root wherever a cane tip touches the soil. They fruit in partial shade where most food plants struggle. They grow in poor soils without complaint. And modern thornless varieties have removed the one legitimate objection most gardeners had to growing them. Varieties like Triple Crown and Chester produce enormous sweet berries on canes that won't tear your arms apart at harvest. That was the trade-off that used to make blackberries hard to love in a home garden setting. That trade-off no longer exists. What makes blackberries worth taking seriously? As a food production plant isn't just the yield per plant. It's what the plant asks of you in return. Almost nothing. No complicated spray schedule, no fussy soil amendments, no annual coddling. Give them something to lean on, point them toward the sun, and get out of their way. The unfair reputation blackberries carry comes from their wild cousins, the invasive canes that swallow fence lines and colonize roadsides. Managed thornless varieties with contained root systems are a completely different story. Same fruit, same production, without the chaos. For anyone who wants serious berry output from low-maintenance plants, blackberries belong at the top of the list. They're not flashy about it. They just keep producing season after season, from plants that cost almost nothing to establish and even less to maintain. Number 8. Peas. The spring machine. Nobody respects enough. Here's the problem with food gardens in early spring. Nothing is ready. You've got seedlings that need weeks, bare soil, and a lot of waiting. Peas solve that problem directly. They produce in the cool season, before most other crops have woken up, filling the gap when fresh homegrown food is hardest to come by. A trellis of peas in April and May, when nothing else is delivering, is worth more to a serious food grower than almost anything else in the garden, and the yield per square foot is high when you grow them right. Sugar snap varieties give you the entire pod, which dramatically increases the harvestable weight per planting. Snow peas offer tender pods for fresh eating and stir fries. Shelling peas deliver protein-dense seeds built for cooking and storing. Each type covers a different use, and you can grow all three. The technique that most people miss is vertical growing. Peas on a trellis produce more food, stay healthier, and take up far less ground space than peas allowed to sprawl. Train them up, harvest aggressively to keep the plant producing, and a properly managed pea trellis can deliver several weeks of continuous picking. The limitation everyone knows about is heat. Once summer arrives, peas stop producing and bolt to seed. That's not a reason to skip them. That's a reason to plant them early, manage them well, and follow them with warm season crops once they're done. Peas are often dismissed as a seasonal crop with a short window, but a plant that starts feeding you while your fruit trees are still in blossom deserves a lot more credit than that. Plant them as early as the ground can be worked. Trellis them vertically. Harvest constantly. They're the first paycheck of the season. Number 7. Raspberries. The vertical yield machine. Raspberries figured something out that most food plants haven't. Grow up, not out. They produce on tall vertical canes, which means you can run them in tight rows along a fence or trellis, extract serious yields from a very narrow strip of ground, and farm the airspace above, rather than spreading across soil you might need for something else. A well-established raspberry patch produces heavily for years, with minimal input once it's settled in. And the speed at which that happens is part of what makes raspberries worth comparing seriously to fruit trees. Plant bare root canes in spring, manage them correctly, and you're harvesting meaningful quantities within 18 months. No fruit tree in existence comes close to that timeline. The biology behind managing raspberries is worth understanding because it's what separates good patches from great ones. Raspberries grow on two types of canes: first-year canes that develop structure and second-year canes that bear fruit. Once you see how that 2-year cycle works, management becomes straightforward. Cut out the spent canes after harvest. Let the new ones build for next year. The cycle becomes self-sustaining. Summer-bearing and fall-bearing varieties give you flexibility. Grow both, and you can stretch the harvest window from midsummer well into autumn. Raspberries look complicated to newcomers because the cane cycle seems confusing before you understand it. Once you do, the whole thing clicks. The plant is doing most of the work already. You're just directing traffic. Few small fruit plants match raspberries for the combination of early establishment, consistent high yield, and the ability to produce serious food from a narrow strip of ground that a fruit tree couldn't even fit in. Number 6. Cucumbers. The vine that never slows down. Cucumbers on a trellis are a fundamentally different proposition from cucumbers left to sprawl across the ground. Growing them vertically solves several problems at once. It keeps fruit clean and uniform. It maximizes airflow around the leaves, which reduces disease pressure, and it lets you pull serious production out of a very small footprint. 5 or 6 plants trained up a 6-foot trellis can produce dozens of cucumbers per week at peak season. The key to keeping that output going is the same principle that works with other continuous producers. Harvest often, harvest young, leave a cucumber to mature fully on the vine, and the plant reads that as a signal to slow down. It thinks its job is done. Pick early and pick regularly, and the plant keeps pushing out new fruit at a pace that's almost startling once you've experienced it. A tiny nub on Monday can be a harvest-ready cucumber by Thursday. Cucumbers are also one of the most water-dense foods you can grow yourself. In the heat of summer, fresh cucumbers from the garden are cooling, genuinely hydrating, and essentially free once your plants are established and producing. The knock on cucumbers as a food production plant is that they're seasonal and don't store fresh. That's fair. But during the height of summer, when they're producing at full pace, a properly managed trellised planting delivers more food per square foot per week than most other crops in the garden. The trellis isn't an accessory here, it's the strategy. A cucumber plant on the ground is one thing. A cucumber plant on a 6-foot vertical support with room to climb is a different machine entirely. Number 5. Strawberries. The plant that builds its own army. No plant on this list makes a stronger first impression once you understand what it's actually doing beneath the surface. A single strawberry plant produces around 3 pounds of fruit per season. That number alone puts it ahead of most people's expectations. But the production story isn't really about what one plant does. It's about what that plant does while it's producing. Strawberries send out runners, long horizontal stems that root themselves into surrounding soil and become entirely new plants, automatically, without you doing a thing. One plant becomes 5, 5 become 25, 25 become 100. The patch doesn't just produce fruit. It produces fruit and a growing army of new producers simultaneously. Compare that to the standard fruit tree math. You plant, you wait, 3 years, 5 years, sometimes longer before you're seeing harvests worth talking about. Strawberries are fruiting within months of planting and actively expanding their own footprint while they do it. Variety selection changes how this works in practice. June-bearing types deliver one large, concentrated flush of fruit in early summer, which is ideal for preserving and making jam. Ever-bearing varieties spread production across the season in smaller waves, better suited for steady daily eating. Strawberries get underestimated as serious food producers because they're so familiar. They feel like a garden treat, not a food security strategy. But when you run the numbers, the first-year fruit, the automatic propagation, the expanding patch that gets more productive year after year, the picture changes completely. This isn't a nice addition to a garden. It's one of the most efficient food production systems in the plant world, hiding in plain sight on every single strawberry plant you've ever eaten. Number 4. Lettuce. The fastest return. On investment in the garden, nothing else in the garden comes close to lettuce for speed of payback. Loose leaf, cut-and-come-again varieties, not head lettuce, which is a one-and-done harvest, can be seeded and producing harvestable leaves in as little as 3 to 4 weeks. Cut the outer leaves. The plant regrows. Cut again in a week or two, and again and again. A single small pot of mixed loose-leaf lettuce, properly managed, can supply fresh salad greens multiple times a week for weeks on end. The plant genuinely keeps coming back as long as you leave the growing center intact and don't let it bolt. The economics of this are almost embarrassing. A $2 packet of seed produces more salad greens than $50 worth of grocery store bags, from a space the size of a cutting board, in 3 weeks. Succession planting, sowing a fresh container or bed every 2 to 3 weeks, extends this production across the entire cool season. You're not harvesting one crop. You're running a continuous green supply line. Lettuce is often handed to beginner gardeners as a starter plant, which is done at a disservice. It gets treated as simple and forgettable rather than what it actually is, one of the highest value per square inch food plants available to anyone, anywhere, in any size space. Urban gardeners, balcony growers, people with a single raised bed. Lettuce should be the backbone of what they're doing, not an afterthought. For anyone measuring output against effort invested, nothing else on this list wins the ratio the way loose-leaf lettuce does. Number 3. Cherry tomatoes. The plant that produces hundreds of fruits. Here it is. The plant I mentioned at the start. A single vigorous indeterminate cherry tomato plant, properly staked and fed, grown in full sun, can produce hundreds of tomatoes over the course of one season, multiple pounds per week at peak output, from a plant that occupies roughly 2 square feet of ground. Think about what that means in practical terms. From July until the first frost, that one plant is delivering fresh fruit constantly. The production is relentless enough that most home growers end up with more tomatoes than they know what to do with. Varieties like Sun Gold, Black Cherry, and Sweet Million have built near-legendary reputations in food gardening circles for a reason. The flavor has nothing in common with what you'll find in a grocery store. The sweetness is different, the depth is different, and the production never seems to stop. Indeterminate varieties are the key. They keep growing and setting fruit throughout the season, rather than ripening everything at once and calling it done. Give them a sturdy stake or cage, feed them consistently, water them regularly, and they reward that attention with output that will genuinely surprise you. The requirements are real. Full sun is non-negotiable. Consistent moisture matters. Good soil fertility makes a significant difference. But meet those conditions and a cherry tomato plant becomes the closest thing to a fruit tree that grows in a single season, except it starts producing in its first year, from seed, within 4 months, from a fraction of the space. A pot on your deck, a single raised bed, a corner of a garden that gets full sun. That's all it takes. Number 2. Blueberries. The 20-year investment that pays forever. Everything else on this list gives you results fast. Blueberries ask you to wait, and what you get on the other side of that wait is extraordinary. A fully mature blueberry bush can produce 10 to 20 pounds of fruit per year from a shrub that might be 4 feet tall and 3 feet wide. Run that against a standard apple tree producing 40 to 60 pounds, but requiring a 10-foot canopy in every direction, and blueberries start looking remarkably efficient per square foot. The patience required is real. true peak production takes 5 to 7 years of establishment. Most gardeners give up before they get there. The ones who don't end up with plants that produce for decades with almost no intervention, feeding their families every summer from something that's essentially running on autopilot. The catch is the soil. Blueberries need acidic conditions, a pH between 4.5 and 5.5, that most garden soils don't naturally provide. You either amend over time with elemental sulfur, or grow them in raised beds filled with an acidic mix of peat and perlite. This is the sticking point that loses most people, but solving the soil problem is a one-time investment that pays off every summer for the next 20 years. Plant at least 2 varieties for cross-pollination. Choose early, mid, and late season types, and your harvest window stretches across 6 to 8 weeks of summer. The gardeners who understood they were planting a long-term investment, not a quick crop, built blueberry patches that now feel like infrastructure, part of the property, part of the food supply, something that simply produces year after year without much being asked of it. Blueberries teach you the difference between patience and wasted time. This is patience. Number 1, kale, the plant that refuses to stop. Every other plant on this list does something remarkable in one specific way. Kale does something remarkable across the entire season, the entire year in mild climates, and often into the next growing season before it's finished. A properly managed kale plant, harvested by removing outer leaves while leaving the central growing point untouched, will produce continuously for months. In cold climates, it pushes on until hard frost. In mild climates, it never fully stops. In many regions, it overwinters and comes back in early spring, offering fresh greens before anything else in the garden has stirred. One planting, months of output, nutritional density that essentially nothing else can match. The harvesting technique is everything. Most people misunderstand it. Cut the entire plant and you've ended it. Strip the outer leaves consistently, always protecting the center, and you've built a green-producing machine that keeps regenerating from the same root system. The more carefully you harvest, the more it gives back. Kale tolerates light frost. A hard freeze actually sweetens the flavor, as cold converts starches into sugars. In terms of cold hardiness among productive food plants, almost nothing comes close. The nutritional profile is well documented and genuinely exceptional. Kale is one of the most micronutrient-dense foods that can be grown in a temperate climate. Vitamin K, vitamin C, calcium, potassium, antioxidants at concentrations that most foods can't approach. It spent years dismissed as livestock fodder, then had a moment as an overexposed food trend. The actual truth is simpler and more useful than either reputation. Kale is a cold-hardy, long-season, continuously producing food plant that earns its space in the garden every single year without fail. No fruit tree produces from spring through winter from a single planting in its first year. Kale does. There you have it. 10 plants that are capable of outproducing a fruit tree in yield per square foot before the tree even hits its stride. The gardeners who figure this out stop waiting for orchards to mature and start building productive systems that deliver real food on a real timeline. If this gave you a new way to think about what belongs in your growing space, smash that like button. It genuinely helps this content reach people who are trying to build real food security from small spaces. Drop a comment below and let me know which plant you're adding first. Are you going straight for the cherry tomatoes, building a blueberry patch, setting up your first kale cut-and-come-again bed? And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that button now. We put out new content every week about growing more food in less space, spending less, and building the kind of food independence that actually works. If there are any topics you'd like me to cover next, let me know in the comments below. See you in the next one.